Saenchai is the Joker of Muay Thai. But this incredible fighter is no clown. This Joker is the King of Kings in Muay Thai. He is like Neo, a superhuman living in the Matrix. When fighters mock him, he activates his dark side and knocks them out. Saenchai is hands down the best pound for pound striker for the last 2 decades. At 42 years old, he's still on a 65 fight win streak. He makes fighting world champions look so easy that you would think that he doesn't take them seriously. He does in fact take world champions to school on a regular basis. When watching Saenchai fights, a fight fan goes from laughing hysterically to being in complete awe. The next moment, the opponent is laying on the floor from an absurd technique. You see, no one ever gets bored of watching Saenchai fight, because they have never seen someone have so much fun while being so dangerous. He is so good that he can even fight with much bigger opponents and still have fun. Even when the opponent weighs 40 pounds more than Saenchai, he is the one who looks like a giant. He completely destroys his opponents while clowning them. It is easy to feel pity for his opponents. But just being in the ring with Saenchai is an honour. Just look at this fighter smile as he's getting knocked out. He was just simply honoured to be taken down by the best. In most of Saenchai's fights, he can finish them whenever he wants, but he chooses to play with them instead. Sometimes Saenchai even shows them mercy. After climbing onto the opponent, instead of raining downward elbows on them, he kisses them instead and laughs to the crowd. You might think he's crazy, but that's just what a once in a lifetime talent does. Never has an athlete fought like Saenchai, and he's now so famous that everyone around the world tries to copy him. No one, however, has the ability to read the opponent like he does. He is lightning quick, to the point where he's nearly untouchable even when playing. The only person who seems to be able to land clean shots on Saenchai is his wife. But when he fights serious, or when he gets angry, he will pull his shorts up and go for the knockout. In his own admission, he is not the hardest hitter, but that hasn't stopped him from knocking out some of the greatest fighters of all time. That's what this episode of Lawrence Kenshin Striking Breakdowns is about. Fight fans, today we will witness all the legendary knockouts of Saenchai, the King of Kings in Muay Thai. Saenchai vs Kem Sitsong Pinong. Kem is a legend of Muay Thai, known for his relentless clinch knee aggression and well-rounded striking arsenal. In 2005, Saenchai was still young at 25 years old, but he had already been declared the very best Muay Thai fighter 6 years prior. To start this fight, Saenchai threw a jumping Superman elbow. He was already tricky. His speed was off the charts and was already able to throw jumping kicks. Kem was able to toss Saenchai to the floor once, but Saenchai returned the favour quickly and looked like an absolute badass. Kem then turned on his signature aggressive clinch mode and went on a knee assault, and even ragdolled Saenchai. But Saenchai got up and remained slick, brushing one of Kem's knee entries and landing an epic teep to floor his opponent. When Kem continued to charge forward, they exchanged a kick volley. Saenchai then threw a high kick which Kem blocked, and the second time he charged in looking like he was going to throw another kick, but sent the opponent flying with a sweep instead. This sweep was so aggressive that it knocked the legendary opponent out. Saenchai vs Tetsuya Yamamoto. Tetsuya is one of the best Japanese Muay Thai fighters of this era, but for Saenchai, it was easy work. When Tetsuya tried to pressure forward to back Saenchai up against the ropes, Saenchai lifted his knee up and pressed forward with a technique called the Thai hop. This allows him to cover range explosively and go into his signature left roundhouse high kick. The opponent tried to counter him with a left hook, but Saenchai had the perfect distancing and leaned back just out of the way as his high kick lands flush on Tetsuya's chin. There was just no getting up from that. Saenchai vs Yetkin Ozkyul. Against the French world champion Ozkyul, Saenchai came out strong. He would do his signature shuffle attack and for some reason, the opponent dropped his hands and mocked Saenchai. Saenchai then went, "What the fuck?" So he continued to press forward and the opponent landed several good attacks. The opponent even landed a flush spinning hook kick on Saenchai. But then Saenchai started to read him like a book. He kicked Ozkyul to the leg and Ozkyul asked for more. The second time Ozkyul tried to spinning kick Saenchai, it no longer worked. When Ozkyul goes in for a high kick, Saenchai easily dodged it and slammed a roundhouse right back. The same sequence happens again a few moments later, and Saenchai is fully enjoying it, knowing he can read his opponent like a book now. When the opponent rushed in to clinch Saenchai, Saenchai climbed up on the ropes and delivered a downward elbow. And when they reset, Saenchai went for the exact same knockout blow that he gave to Tetsuya. After Ozkyul inside low kicked him, Saenchai threw a cross. Then when they reset, Saenchai tie hopped his way in and delivered a perfect high kick as the opponent tried to left hook. Ozkyul is visibly rocked as Saenchai hunts the finish. As his opponent threw a hook, it was countered by Saenchai's straight left cross. But Ozkyul was game, and he got up and came forward right away. Saenchai would send him flying through the air with a sweep. Then he decided he had enough playtime with his food, and when Ozkyul threw an outside low kick, Saenchai grabbed the leg and threw a left cross that finished the fight. Saenchai vs Nong-O. Nong-O is widely considered the second best Muay Thai fighter of this era. If Saenchai didn't exist, Nong-O would be king. Unfortunately, Saenchai just has Nong-O figured out. Nong-O switched to southpaw for this fight, which prompted Saenchai to move forward to hunt power strikes with his left side. He found a clear mark for the throwaway jab into the cross early on. Then he repeatedly landed the cross over and over again. To go for the finish, he entered again with a throwaway jab, which hand traps Nong-O's hand to create an entry for the power left cross. Saenchai continued with the combo with an elbow and high kick. Nong-O was rocked and Saenchai finished him with a classic jab cross hook low kick. By knocking out Nong-O in such dominant fashion, Saenchai further cemented his legacy in Muay Thai history. Saenchai vs Chao Li Dao. Dao is a standard champion from China. You can tell that he was offensively sharp by the blitzing side kick he threw at Saenchai right away, but defensively Dao wasn't quite so sharp. He could not read any of Saenchai's movements, allowing him to easily move in and out to strike. Saenchai landed anything he wanted, and eventually a check hook that dropped the opponent. For some reason, the referee didn't count, so when they got up, Saenchai continued to combo up. During one of the combinations, Saenchai realised that the opponent wasn't responding to his pouring jabs. A few moments later, Saenchai would corner Dao, pour the jab in front of the opponent's face, pour the opponent's right hand down, and throw a perfect elbow to end the fight. This is one of the most devastating elbow knockouts out there. This fight was nearly a perfect fight for Saenchai. He could do whatever he wanted, and didn't even get touched once. Saenchai vs Stanislav Patrakov. This fight didn't last very long. In the opening round, the opponent threw a right kick which Saenchai blocked and countered with a left cross to the body. He then threw a face teep and blitzed him with a Superman left cross into power right jab into another cross. When the opponent got up and rushed in to clinch, Saenchai pinched down on the opponent's underhook and threw an overhand elbow that ended the fight. This is a classic golden era technique that not many people know about. Saenchai vs Adeolton Freitas. In this fight, Saenchai goes up against a multiple time world champion that is about 40 pounds bigger than him. Saenchai is the one moving forward and pressuring, but when Adeolton hits back, Saenchai was visibly affected. When Saenchai was starting to read his opponent well, he started to throw his signature attacks. But when Saenchai threw the cartwheel kick, Adeolton blocked it and hit a beautiful kick in attempt to sweep. This of course is legal, but Saenchai showed an angry face and Adeolton immediately bowed and apologised. This gave away all the momentum and Saenchai started putting on a show. The Giant had his moments at pressing forward with his punches, hitting Saenchai clean once. When the Giant tried to sweep him, Saenchai reversed the throw when the opponent went for a knee. He landed beautifully in side control, showing us that if Saenchai wanted to do MMA, he would have likely done great. Throughout the fight, Saenchai kept finding his mark, but what led to a knockdown was when Adeolton threw a knee. Saenchai blocked it with his forearm and levered the momentum to throw an overhand left. He rocked his opponent again right after with the same cross when the Giant threw an inside low kick. Saenchai then landed 10 strikes in a row, and then landed another 10 punches to finish the fight like Hitman.
โอ้โหเรียบร้อยครับแบบนี้นี่ไม่ไหว
Saenchai vs Stephen Milidi. Against Stephen Milidi, an Irish world champion, Saenchai looked slick from the start. He dodged all of the high kicks thrown against him and countered Milidi beautifully. He almost kneed Saenchai to the nuts, but Saenchai was indifferent about it. But the show really got started when Saenchai went for the cartwheel kick. At this point, everyone was loving it. Both fighters exchanged for 5 seconds with each other, and when Saenchai climbed onto Milidi, he showed a downward elbow and kissed his opponent instead. The Irish fans loved it. Throughout the fight, Saenchai was dominant in catching kicks and countering Milidi with it. To get the first knockdown, Saenchai again caught Milidi's kick and fired multiple left crosses as his opponent was on the retreat. When the opponent rushed in to throw a left hook, it was met by Saenchai's check hook. Eventually, as Saenchai dominated the fight, the referee stopped it. Liam Harrison went to hug Saenchai, but was rejected the hug. Saenchai climbed onto the ropes and did a primal yell like a general who just won a hard battle. Unfortunately, this was at a school gymnasium instead of a stadium like it should be. Saenchai vs Craig Dixon. At the very start of the fight, Dixon mocked Saenchai's hip dancing. This angered Saenchai and made him go for a face teep right away. Saenchai then went after Dixon, landing strike after strike without any response. Eventually, Saenchai landed a jumping face teep and that made him happy. He also knocked Dixon to the floor with a teep. When he did the shuffle, Dixon mocked him again by doing the shuffle. Then after landing some solid shots, Saenchai did the hip dance and the shuffle and Dixon no longer mocked him anymore. When Saenchai got kicked to the leg, he smacked his own leg and used the squat to jump into a flying kick. In the next round, Saenchai scored extremely well, doing whatever he wanted to do to Dixon. After a push kick, he faked another push kick to switch into an orthodox jab and left knee. As the knee lands, he grabbed Dixon on the neck and landed a beautiful lead right elbow. This would later become one of his signature attacks. Dixon was now in survival mode, but kept moving forward like a warrior. Saenchai threw a body shot that rocked him, but he got up right away and kept fighting. But once Saenchai finds a weakness, he is ruthless with it. So a few moments later, he threw the same shot again and the referee stopped the fight. After the fight, Craig looked super defeated when Saenchai kissed him. But that's what you get for mocking the greatest of all time. However, Saenchai's next opponent did not learn from Dixon, and made Saenchai even angrier. Saenchai vs Gilles Barash. In the start of this fight, Saenchai did his signature shuffle in what seemed like forever. When Saenchai climbed onto Gilles to throw a downward elbow, he was tossed to the ground. Gilles then mocked Saenchai by shuffling, and Saenchai was immediately angry. He pulled his shorts up.
It was at this moment that he knew. He fucked up.
Saenchai then went on a combination attack right away, landing everything he wanted. He continued to press Gilles to the ropes. Then he blocked Gilles' lead hand, faked a lead kick which made Gilles attempt to grab, faked a cross which made Gilles lean, and then threw a jumping high kick which knocked Gilles out. Here's Asian Justin Bieber going crazy on the knockout. Saenchai told me that if he didn't knock out Gilles with this kick, he would have had to forfeit the match because he couldn't walk after. That's right, he kicked Gilles so hard with this kick that he hurt his own foot. Maybe fighters should think twice before mocking Saenchai. Saenchai vs Alessio D'Angelo. Against Alessio, Saenchai was in charge of the fight from the very beginning. You can tell how in charge Saenchai is by when he decides to throw the cartwheel kick. If he throws it right away, you know that he's ready to dominate because the cartwheel kick is a high risk, high reward technique. To finish the fight, Saenchai controlled the opponent's lead arm as he explosively tie hopped. When the opponent tried to throw a left hook, based on the opening that Saenchai gives him, Saenchai finished Alessio with his signature high kick against the hook once again. Saenchai knew he wasn't going to get up from it and celebrated with kisses towards the crowd. What is most touching about this fight is how Saenchai hugged Alessio after the fight and carried him to the corner. Alessio kissed Saenchai and then gave him a deep bow of respect. Saenchai vs Charles Francois. Francois is one of the best French Muay Thai fighters and a world champion. To begin the fight, Saenchai shuffled again. Francois tried to pressure Saenchai but got swept immediately. Now Saenchai signals with his arms to say, "What are you going to do about it?" After that, he knew he had the momentum and started to throw his signature shuffle to teep and flying kicks. This got Francois chasing, but Saenchai swept him into the corner once again, which made Saenchai happy and he started to hip dance. When Francois charged forward to pin Saenchai onto the ropes, he climbed up again to feint the downward elbow. The battle joy in Saenchai's face is so apparent. It's obvious he lives for fighting. What happens next is the biggest schooling we have ever seen in Muay Thai. After Francois throws a rear push kick, Saenchai grabs the leg, hops in explosively, fakes a kick, and as the opponent panicked, he grabbed the back of his head to circle around him and fire a kick to his back. This is legal in Muay Thai, but Francois didn't know, so Saenchai signaled him to stop complaining. When Francois charged forward to throw combinations, Saenchai defended all of it and waved him on for more. But when Saenchai threw, all of his strikes landed flush, and he was in full showman mode now. The first knockdown happened when Saenchai decided he wanted to throw an overhand. There wasn't much of a setup. Saenchai was just too good with his timing and fired it right down the middle. He chased Francois down and threw another left cross for another knockdown. But Francois is a warrior, and got up again and survived the rest of the round. In the next round, Francois thought it would be a good idea to pressure Saenchai and chase him down, but that's when Saenchai exploded into another left cross to finish the fight. Saenchai again carried his opponent to the corner and kissed him after the fight. Saenchai vs Pao Sopon. Against one of Cambodia's best fighters, Saenchai brought his A-game. Early in the fight, Pao swung a huge left hook at Saenchai when he blitzed in. Then Saenchai did his signature blitzing high kick right away and almost landed flush. Pao was good at countering Saenchai's fancy combinations, so instead of playing, Saenchai just used his signature blitzing left cross to get the first knockdown. The fight ended immediately from this punch. The knockout is achieved by feinting a lead hand fight, and when the opponent reaches out, Saenchai fires the left cross down the middle where there's no defense. The ladies love this knockout just as much as they love Saenchai. Saenchai vs Sean Clancy. Against Sean Clancy, Saenchai did an epic dance opening. From the beginning of the fights, Saenchai dominated immediately. Anything he wanted to throw landed well. He started to mock Clancy, and even threw multiple jabs to Clancy's thigh. He was so dominant that he could throw 6 punches to his opponent's body before there was even a reaction. Saenchai even played around with Clancy before holding his leg for 5 seconds when he caught it. After dodging a high kick, Saenchai swayed his torso back and forth, and Clancy decided it would be a good idea to mock the king with a girly hip dance. It seemed like Saenchai wanted to laugh and pretend to be angry at the same time. But he started to fight serious, and started the next exchange with a flush push kick to the face. Then Saenchai reached his lead hand out again, and when the opponent engaged in the hand fight, he fired his left cross straight down the middle to rock the opponent. Then he did the machine gun punches like Ip Man in the corner. When it didn't work, he realised it's Muay Thai and started to throw elbows. That was an 18 hit combination that went unanswered. Saenchai went back to play mode, and after a sweep attempt, Saenchai kissed Clancy, and in an odd moment, Clancy turned his face and kissed back so they touched mouth to mouth. After the round, Saenchai tapped Clancy on the head as he was walking back to the corner, as if he was comforting a little boy. When the next round began, Saenchai did several angle switches into a sweep. Then he began a superior aerial combination with flying kicks and jumping elbows. When Saenchai threw another 6-hit combination that went unanswered, the referee stopped the fight. It was the right move, because at this point Clancy had no more replies, and Saenchai was actually taking it easy on Clancy. I mean, just look at this sweep. Clancy cowered away and Saenchai went to hug him instead. Saenchai vs Yuri Bukvalov. Saenchai started this fight with a shuffle into a question mark kick, and then he threw the signature jumping scissor kick that resulted in a knockdown. When the opponent got up, Saenchai jumped across the ring for a Superman elbow. Then Saenchai started playing and swaying his hips. But after playing for a while, Saenchai decided to end the fight. He caught the opponent's rear push kick, and as Yuri tried to retract his leg, Saenchai blitzed him for a left cross. Saenchai vs Jonathan Tuhu. Against Tuhu, a super jacked fighter known for his aerial spinning kick knockouts, Saenchai came out again with a shuffle. Then he tried a bunch of his signature moves from the jumping teep to the jumping roundhouse. Tuhu reacted well, but Saenchai was eventually able to get a slick sweep. When Tuhu swung a big left hook and missed, Saenchai taunted him by leaning forward and smiling. When Tuhu threw a power low kick and missed, Saenchai waved him on by hitting his own leg. Then in a weird moment, Tuhu stuck his hand out to fist bump Saenchai, and when Saenchai went to fist bump too, Tuhu pulled away and started dancing. In the next round, Tuhu started the round with a push kick to Saenchai's nuts. That made Saenchai pull up his shorts.
It was at this moment that he knew. He fucked up.
Tuhu then push kicked Saenchai to the nuts again, but this time, Saenchai parried it. This seemed to anger Saenchai and he got serious, hunting for left crosses. Eventually, he found a mark when Tuhu swung for an overhand and missed, and Saenchai pulled back and countered with a perfect left cross as Tuhu fell forward. When Tuhu went for his signature tornado kicks, Saenchai just backed away and started to laugh. Then he clapped for Tuhu to mock him. When Tuhu threw a kick, Saenchai caught Tuhu's right hand and pulled it down to clear the entry for the cross. Saenchai seemed to be friends with the opposing corner, so when he drank his friend's water, he spat it out back at them. Tuhu started to do spinning kicks for some reason as Saenchai celebrated on the ground. Saenchai vs Nedo Gomba. Gomba is a fighter infamous for hitting his ex-girlfriend, but he seems to respect Saenchai because he randomly bowed to him during the fight. When Saenchai charged in, Gomba almost landed a check hook that off-balanced Saenchai. Then he tried to jumping kick Saenchai, which resulted in him getting swept flying into the air. When Gomba caught Saenchai's roundhouse, we saw how supreme his balance was. No matter what Gomba did, Saenchai remained perfectly in balance. That was when Gomba realised he was outmatched. The next time Gomba caught Saenchai's leg, it was actually Gomba that got swept to the ground. That is how powerful Saenchai's hips are. Saenchai then decided he wanted to end the fight, and stalked Gomba down, trapped his lead hand, and went for the power cross to finish the fight again. Saenchai vs Henrique Miller. Henrique is one of the tallest fighters Saenchai has ever fought. He's good too, having knocked out an all-time great fighter named Pampayak. Against Saenchai, he came out swinging for the fences. But then the master fought back, and although the giant was getting overwhelmed, he was loving it. But he turned more serious when Saenchai caught his kick, and aerial kicked him as he was falling. When the giant got up, he tried to pressure Saenchai more, but it didn't work so well. Saenchai landed beautiful elbows and push kicks, as well as landing combinations at will. But Muller was clearly a big fan of Saenchai and was experiencing extreme battle joy against him. He was having so much fun. To combat the smiling, Saenchai fed him 2 crosses. Then they started playing and laughing and kissing again when Saenchai climbed onto the giant to fake an elbow and then kissed. When Muller went for a rear teep, Saenchai caught it and went into his signature cartwheel kick, which he landed flush with the knee. They both fell down, but both got up looking super happy. But as Muller kept laughing, Saenchai kept feeding him crosses, and when Saenchai remained relentless and ruthless, he cornered the giant and put him down with a beautiful combination. Muller survived the round, but when the next round began, Saenchai landed the best question mark kick that he's ever thrown. When he raised his knee, the giant thought it was a body kick and went to block it, but this left the head exposed for a perfect landing. Muller even smiled on the way down, but he could no longer smile after he fell to the floor. After the fight, Muller and Saenchai embraced with a deep hug, and then Saenchai kissed everyone in the ring. Saenchai vs Ramen Mozami. Saenchai began this fight with his signature shuffle again and then followed it with a double roundhouse. Ramen fell to the floor right away after the kick, but it wasn't an actual knockdown. The real knockdown came when Saenchai cornered the opponent a few moments later. He flew in with a jumping kick, followed by a blitzing cross into a sweep and an overhand elbow. It was an absolutely beautiful combination, and Saenchai knew the fight was finished right away and started celebrating. This fight lasted less than 30 seconds. Saenchai vs Islam Dajabai. Once again, Saenchai shuffled to begin this fight, but instead of throwing anything, Dajabai just automatically backed up. A few moments later, after Dajabai tried to charge Saenchai with combinations, He shuffled again and landed a flush question mark kick. Then Saenchai activated his full fancy mode, cornering his opponent with a hook into low kick, flying kick, overhand, jumping knee, jumping teep into spinning elbow and kiss. When the opponent landed a nice low kick, Saenchai tapped his leg again asking for more, and then they exchanged funny faces with each other. Dajabaili went for another low kick, Saenchai dodged it easily and went on a huge combination spree that included low kicks. Saenchai continued to put his opponent to the corner and went Ip Man on him with a 20 hit combination. Saenchai vs Javad Bigdeli. Javad started this fight by throwing a roundhouse straight to Saenchai's nuts. When Saenchai landed a flush left cross, Javad decided it would be a good idea to taunt Saenchai. He dropped his hands and leaned forward, which made Saenchai go on the offensive right away. When Saenchai swept Javad, he put his hand in front of his face and offered him a hand up. Throughout the round, Saenchai continued to punish his opponent, but Javad's confidence was still riding high. Every time Saenchai landed something nice, Javad got up and put on the swagger of a badass. When the next round began, Saenchai landed a beautiful knee to Javad's sternum. This made Javad drop his hands and ask for more again, so Saenchai started to punish him to the body. Javad had a warrior spirit and tried to pressure Saenchai, but after he tried, Saenchai basically said, "My turn." The beautiful knees to the body continued over and over again, and this time, Javad acknowledged them with a nod instead of a taunt. Saenchai knew that his opponent was feeling the shots, and now even his own taunts and feints were making Javad panic. Knowing his opponent's weakness now, the knee and body shot attacks continued. When Saenchai landed another very good knee to the body, Javad again taunted him by asking for more, so Saenchai obliged, and landed 3 more knees to drop Javad. It was a ruthless cross to knee combination, followed by a knee to the head, and an overhand elbow, and another knee to Javad's head on the way down. The confident fighter could not get up, and Saenchai went over to hug and kiss his opponent right after. Javad looked defeated after the bout, but still hugged Saenchai like a great sportsman. To this day, Javad has been looking for a rematch. Saenchai vs Bachagao Sundoi. In this fight, Saenchai faced off against a Mongolian fighter who looked completely outclassed. Although he was a lot bigger than Saenchai, it seemed like he didn't have any answers to what Saenchai was doing. Everything Saenchai did landed at will. Sundoi did however land a very nice sweep on Saenchai, which rarely happens. In a rare moment of frustration, Saenchai got up and walked away and hit the rope. When they re-engaged, it was obvious Saenchai was hunting for the finish. When Sundoi tried to pressure forward and walk Saenchai down, and when he tried to throw a knee, Saenchai dropped down for a power left cross to the body. Saenchai knew right away the fight ended. After the fight, they exchanged kisses. Saenchai vs Alejandro Amicucci. Against Amicucci, Saenchai went on the offensive right away. He cornered the fighter and launched a flying kick and a 9-hit combination on his opponent. After the combination, the opponent ran away from Saenchai. He let out some primal punches into the air with a mean face. Saenchai then landed 16 strikes in a row. To finish this fight, Saenchai engaged with a teep into a sweep, followed by a right knee to the sternum. This rocked Amicucci, and Saenchai launched another knee to the head as the opponent was going down. Saenchai kissed and hugged Alejandro after the fight multiple times. Saenchai vs Topik Abdulev. Saenchai came out shuffling again, and Topik countered it well with an inside low kick. Topik then continued to low kick multiple times and was doing well on landing them. But then Saenchai decided to bring out his full arsenal, and Topik had a really tough time dealing with the variety. Saenchai started to find the body shot with his left cross and left knee again, and landed it over and over until Topik went down. Saenchai vs Gabriel dos Santos. During the stare down before the fight, the opponent decided it would be a good idea to push Saenchai. Saenchai humbly said it's okay to the officials on stage. who were very powerful men connected to every type of leader in society, and escorted the young fighter off the stage himself. When the fight began, however, Saenchai was no longer kind. The warrior is no longer in the garden, and he's now a lion hunting his prey. Saenchai knew there was no need to teach this fighter a lesson outside of the ring, because he knew his opponent was about to face the biggest test of his life inside of the ring. In the beginning of the fight, Saenchai came forward to test Gabriel's offense. Immediately, Saenchai got his leg caught in between the ropes and the opponent tried to attack him anyway. The illegal move woke up Saenchai's fight energy, and that is a scary thing for anyone, no matter the opponent. It was clear that Saenchai took this personally, so he waved the opponent on to say, "Okay, you want to fight? Time to give you one, young Padawan." From being a counter fighter, Saenchai turned into an aggressive fighter. He was hunting his opponent down and nearly landed a flying kick which would have ended the fight. Right after Saenchai put him down, he walked away like a badass. With dominance established, he brought out all of his showmanship antics, more than we have ever seen before. These antics include flying teeps to the face, hitting the ropes with his hands, laughing at his opponent as he misses, pulling up his shorts, tapping his head with his jabbing hands. Saenchai did it all within a few mere seconds after the knockdown. Then he proceeds to go on a 10-hit combination, with most of the strikes landing. After playing around with his prey, he decides it's now the time to drop him again. This time, he chose the signature cross to knee, which is done by distracting and blinding the opponent with the cross to set up a perfect opening for the knee. When his opponent got up, Saenchai sent him flying again with an aerial sweep. While being an absolute badass, Saenchai never stops being a comedian. He entertained the crowd with a spinning kick to end the round and getting his leg stuck in the ropes. After struggling for a few moments, he got his leg out and started dancing for the crowd. These antics are why endless amounts of fans show up to watch him fight. In the final round, Saenchai went for another 8-hit combination, with an overhand elbow and a knee to the face landing flush. When his opponent went down, in another showcase of complete dominance, Saenchai started kneeing the ropes after the opponent fell. What could be more discouraging than that? Now desperate, the opponent decided it would be a good idea to throw a spinning back fist, and that's when Saenchai decided to stop playing around with his food and ended the fight. He backed the opponent up with his signature question mark kick, followed by a face teep, and then his signature cross the knee combination again. With 3 knockdowns in total, the fight is over. The arrogant opponent was brought to his knees over and over again in this fight. Although Saenchai gave him a much needed lesson in life, he went over to hug him immediately and even kissed him. They embraced with hugs after the fight. It was all love. Saenchai vs Omar Elus. Against Omar, Saenchai developed a dad bod, but it didn't matter against his athletic and muscular opponent. He was simply too experienced. In the opening round, after a few good exchanges with each other, Saenchai walked Omar down. With Omar's back on the ropes, Saenchai threw an overhand into a left knee, which landed flush on Omar's ribs. Saenchai also landed one of the most beautiful feet slaps to the face we have ever seen. It was a hybrid between an axe kick and a face teep, and the whole foot landed across Omar's face. Saenchai vs Timothy Kamau. In this fight, it only took Saenchai 20 seconds to get his first knockdown. This is the first time he knocked someone down with a push kick to the face. When the opponent got up, Saenchai continued to press forward to finish with a hard left cross. Saenchai cleared the opponent's lead arm with his right hand to create an entry for his left hand. On the way down, Saenchai kneed him to the head again. The look on the opponent's face said it all. His face basically said, "Holy shit, Saenchai hits hard." The referee stopped the fight as Kamau was trying to get up. After the fight, the two warriors were all smiles with each other. Saenchai vs Ali Godratisaraskan. Ali was very scrappy in this fight with Saenchai. The commentators thought Ali had a chance against Saenchai after the scrappy first round.
Barely even first round. Ali pretty much set the tone.
In the second round, however, it was Ali who pressured forward until Saenchai landed a nice knee to his ribs. You could see Ali smile and back up from the knee, meaning he was rocked. In a fun moment, when Saenchai dodged a high kick, he looked up to the sky. Right after this moment, Saenchai darted in with a left cross to left knee. There was no smiling after that. Saenchai is the true king of Muay Thai. After dominating for 3 decades straight at the very top, he's got nothing else left to prove. At 42 years old, he's currently on a 65 fight win streak, but even with a dad bod, he's showing no signs of slowing down. Saenchai says he does all of this for the fans. So let's celebrate his legendary career and fights while he's still active. This is Lawrence Kenshin Striking Breakdowns. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe to the channel so you won't miss any new episodes about legendary fighters. The best way to support our channel is to watch another episode. Thank you for helping us keep it alive.